Hi everyone, welcome. Thank you for joining us. My name is Ivonne and I am a holistic health coach here at Infusio Beverly Hills, and I am also a former Lyme patient. I am now in remission after my cell therapy close to 3 years ago. And today we will be talking about mind-body medicine, which is an important part of the Infusio concept and how we can help our healing process. And we are sitting here with the TV personality DJ producer Didier Cohen, and D is currently going through his own healing process after cell therapy and is here with us to share his experience with mind-body medicine and anything you want to talk about. Really, he's giving us the green light, and we have been collecting some questions via social media this week. So after we chat for a little bit, Didier is going to be answering some of the questions that we collected, as well as some of the questions that you are going to ask in this live broadcast. So thank you for being here. And before we go to the questions, I just want to say on behalf of the Lyme community, we are really grateful that you've taken your time to be here with us, you know, to be a voice for Lyme disease and to chat with us, because I know that you are very busy. You know, you do a million things and your schedule is like super booked. So I want you to know that we really appreciate your time, and thank you for being here.
No problem. To me, without the Lyme community, I would be having a hard time. The Lyme community is so nice and like embrace me full on. So any chance I can to speak about what I've gone through and what you've gone through and what a lot of people are going through, I want to take that time.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, and you know, I want to talk a little bit about what it was like. I remember when you walked in the doors. I remember, and your very first day, and you looked like a totally different person. Like, this is not the Didier that I saw the first day you were here. I mean, you were a hot mess, and I'm saying that in a very loving way,
Yeah, no,
right?
I hear you.
But you were struggling. You were really struggling. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about your story.
Man, so I think if we go back, I'll take a short kind of story on it. I think I started getting sick, feeling really sick around 2007 when I was living in Australia. It started with my stomach. I started having like really bad stomach problems. And then it kind of gradually got worse. But with me being in entertainment and music, my adrenaline's just kind of going all the time. So that kind of took over any horrible symptoms or anything that could kind of deter me, because adrenaline just kept pushing me. But I got sicker and sicker, and my team and managers always wanted me to go see doctors. So I'd go see doctors, and one doctor was like, oh, you have adrenal fatigue, and the other doctor's like, oh, you have parasites in your stomach, we're going to give you some antibiotics for that. But no one ever knew what was going on. And so about a year ago, I came back to LA to just work on music and kind of like see other passions out here. And so my adrenaline kind of relaxed, right? Stabilized. I was on a stable, and that's when I got really sick. Symptoms started getting really bad. Like, it started with a little bit of numbness, then my arms would get numb, my jaw would get numb, and then my back started getting like just sudden horrible pains. And so I went to go see my family doctor, and luckily this doctor is very Lyme literate. So he asked me right off the bat, he's like, do you think you have Lyme disease? And I thought, no way. I didn't have a bullseye rash. I didn't have any of these types of things that you say. And like, I've been feeling sick for 10 years. And everything I heard about Lyme disease was like, once you get bit, it happens like right away. Like, there's these crazy symptoms that happen right away. And mine was very gradual.
Right.
So when I was diagnosed with 3 strains of Lyme and a bunch of other co-infections, and they put me on just a bunch of antibiotics. And that unfortunately made me really sick. I started getting seizures and epilepsy and couldn't walk very well. I was bedridden for a while. And so my family and a family friend and a close friend of mine, she came to Infusio, and she kind of guided me and said, you should come and do Infusio when I came out public that I had Lyme disease. Yeah, and it brought me here. And it was like yeah, I saw you on the first day. That was the first day I was here with a crazy beard, and I was super sick. I didn't know what was going on, but yeah, I just wanted to embrace the whole process and treatment as much as I could.
Yeah, and you know, it's interesting because you talk about your story, and it's very similar. Although Lyme disease has a different expression on different people, but a lot of us have the same story, you know, of the struggles with doctors and just getting all these misdiagnoses before getting to the real deal, right? And then when you get there, it's like, oh my gosh, what now? Right? So, and I also remember, you know, when I saw you first, I think you were also having, like, you were fainting and stuff like that, right? Like, it was really intense.
I kept getting really, really bad lightheaded spells. The worst was like my back and legs were shot. Like, it was just the worst pain, and I always just get lightheaded all the time. I was super faint, and I think a lot of it was my body wasn't able to process nutrients correctly based on what was going on with my body. And when I saw you, it was pretty, I was in a pretty rock bottom state, right? And it's going back on it to kind of even think about that state that I was in. I can't even believe I was the same person.
Yeah, no, I mean, you even looked shorter to me. Yeah. Like, I saw you, I remember seeing you, like, it was probably, I don't know, maybe a month after you did your cells, and I looked at you and I was like, Didier, did you grow? You know, because you look so much taller.
I was just hunched over.
Yeah, but that's what, you know, that's what this illness does, right? It just robs us from who we are, right? Although we are not the illness, but it really kind of like takes a toll, you know, in our body and in our mind, right?
Yeah, that was, it's funny you said that. Like, that was something that was important. There was two things that were really, well, one thing was, when I was told I had Lyme disease, I was in such denial. Like, it was kind of like this haze of, like, this figment of imagination. Like, it wasn't a reality to me. It was like this, I just never really kind of claimed it. Like, there's no way. I was in this, probably a lot of people feel like this crazy denial. But I remember the first day when you spoke to me and you said, it's not your Lyme, it's just the Lyme. And I was like, yeah, it totally clicked for me. I'm like, I'm not going to claim something that's so toxic to my body. And if you claim it for yourself, it's yours forever.
Totally.
So, like, I remember that was, like, the start of, like, the switch of mindset.
Yeah. And I, you know, I talk about that a lot with our patients, because I know that for me, that also turn things around a little bit in terms of, like, the perspective and not identifying, you know, with the illness or even the symptoms. Like, I don't say anymore my headache. I say, hey, the headache. You know, if I get whatever it is, I just try to detach from it a little bit, right? And that really helps my state of mind. And you were talking a couple of minutes ago about the adrenaline thing, right? And so on Mondays, we've been having meetings with the patients, and we've been talking about mind-body medicine, and you have been so kind to join us and support us, so that's amazing. Thank you for that. And so we've been talking about the adrenaline versus the oxytocin, right? And we've been talking about how oxytocin is the healing hormone, right? Like, to be in an oxytocin state is conducive to healing, and it's amazing. It is the love hormone. It is the healing hormone. And so I know that when you've been at these meetings and you've been sharing with us, I know that you are totally into the oxytocin thing. Like, you are totally, you're like an oxytocin junkie, just like me. And so tell me a little bit about how you incorporate, you know, your mind. So
and back to, like, the thought process between stress and oxytocin. It's, like, very easy to speak about. It's another thing to, like, do.
Totally.
And, like, I remember, like, when I was sick in my bed, it was rock bottom. There was no oxytocin. There was no positive thoughts are going to save me. It's like, yo, this is it. Like,
I'm dying.
Forget the career, forget life, forget, like, this is just the worst that it is.
Totally.
And it's these thoughts that I kept saying and kept doing, they were doing no good for me. Every time I said how sick I was, okay, cool, you're sick. You keep telling yourself you're sick. It's not doing anything healthy. It's not doing anything positive for you. So for me, the biggest switch was that first day speaking with you, and then just the fact that I'm an oxytocin junkie, because I believe you should always think positive. And I think positive thoughts about other things, positive thoughts about things that you want to happen, but the most important thing is positive thoughts about yourself. Because this is your life.
Totally.
And this is you. Like, you know, stop worrying. When you get sick, everyone worries about other things.
Yes.
And the most important you have to do, is that you always tell me, is worry about yourself.
Yes.
So that first step was, okay, I'm not sick, I'm getting better. That was the first step, right? When I got into Infusio, I'm not sick, I'm getting better. Every single day I'm getting better. And there was no question that I wasn't going to get better. It was just these thoughts become things. And ever since that road, look, I'm 4 or 5 months out of my stems, and I feel amazing. Like, I'm really, really, really great. So you can't tell me my positive thinking for me doesn't work, because it's working for me. So that's where I become like the oxytocin junkie and want to think positive thoughts about everything, because I truly believe what you put out there comes back to you.
Totally. Yeah, and there are tools, you know, there are tools, because you're saying, and you know, that when you are consumed by the illness, it's not like positive thoughts and a positive frame of mind come naturally.
Well, yeah.
You know, like there are tools that that we can use to do that, to kind of like engage in that oxytocin state, you know, but it's a conscious decision.
Yeah.
You know, first of all, it's a very conscious decision. So it sounds to me like you've been doing that entirely.
Look, it's a day by day like process, or step by step process, but like if you just look at it, like for me, it's logically, it's like if you stress out about things, that's a negative situation, and that negativity is stress is gonna have a toll not only on your mind, on your body, because both work in conjunction with each other. So for me, it's like, all right, that can't happen, even though we're all human, we all get stressed, we have stressful moments. It's identifying that first, like how can I look at things more positive way, and then like you said, the tools, whether it's for me meditation or creativity, as long as I get meditation in daily or a creative output daily, it's very positive for me, right? And then affirmations is really positive for me, thinking about not what will happen in the future, but what is happening now and what I want to manifest in this life. Those are 3 core things for me that create oxytocin life, that no matter what stress, work, everything I come through, as long as I have those 3 things in my core, especially with my family and love in that, I'm good.
Yeah, totally.
I'm good. I could kind of battle any type of fight, stressful situation, money situation, because going back to it, me getting sick, all that kind of money or monetary value, all these things I thought were so important became so minute when I was on my back in bed. It didn't. It didn't even compare.
Yeah, that's a really, really big shift. You know, because if we don't have health, we don't really have anything.
Agreed.
You know, and so going back to this, to how, because here's the thing, the way that I see it too, Dee, and that is that life is always in session, you know, and things are always going to happen, you know, and we are going to have people that don't support us, or we're going to have people that don't like us, or we're going to have doctors that are not nice to us, and whatever it is, right? But then is what do I do with that? Like how do I choose to deal with it? Because I think that we always have a choice.
Of course.
We always have a choice. So why don't we choose to engage in some sort of like positive frame of mind? For me, you know, you mentioned that you do the meditation and you do the affirmations and all of that. How do I get my oxytocin? dancing like a
Yeah,
mad
there you
woman in the kitchen,
Yeah,
you
there
know.
you go.
Sometimes I pick up my dog and I
Yeah.
dance with my dog. I'm very big on puppy videos. You know, I love watching these silly videos with puppies, and if they have babies in it, even better. You know, so there's always things that we can do to increase all of that oxytocin state. So it's I mean, it works. It really, really works.
Look, it's like you said, like life happens, and you're gonna get stressed. Like there's no one I know that just lives like this stress-free life or whatever. It just, we're human. We live in a world where there's a lot of stresses and these different things. But it's like, it's kind of like how you say, it's worry about what you can control. I can't control this situation. I can't control this car that cut in front of me. I can't control the way this person treated me, but I can control how I react to it. That's it.
Yeah.
I can control how I look at the world, how I see different situations. And if you start just step by step, kind of being like, oh, it's not me, it's you, or this is not that big of a situation. It's like working out, right? It's like you cut to the gym the first time, you're out of shape, running is impossible, everything, but as you do it daily and daily, and it gets easier and easier, and you become stronger. And I think it's the same thing with anything, with your mind, the way you think about things, and definitely your health.
Yeah, definitely. And this is something that everybody can do. You know, mind-body medicine, it's something that everybody can do. And I think it's a very important part of the Infusio concept.
Totally.
You know, we have like 5 steps to health, and one of them is mind-body medicine. Is the 5th step to health. And the reason why it is incorporated there is because it really is conducive to the healing process of the body, you know, especially when you're dealing with chronic illness such as Lyme and you know, any other autoimmune diseases. So it's really important that we try to the best of our ability to engage in this type of medicine, because there's no question about it. I mean, there are hundreds of studies out there. We're not sitting here just talking about it because we're talking about it. You know, there are studies out there that are telling us that this thing does work. You know, so I think I want to go into some questions.
Yeah,
what do you
please.
think?
That's
Yeah, let's do that. So we have been, this whole week, we have been collecting some questions via social media, like I said earlier. And again, Dee gave us, he's been so gracious, and he gave us the green light to ask anything. So yes, some questions are about his life and his personal life and his plans and his music and Lyme disease and all of that. So you're going to hear questions about everything, and I expect you guys to ask anything you want. Once we go over these questions that I have, then we'll go into the questions that you have submitted, and we'll answer them, okay? So, are you ready?
Yeah. I'm ready.
All right, Dee. So, the first one is, are you in remission or just maintaining?
Look, that's a really good question, actually. I think it's all about, look, I have ups and downs all the time, right?
Well, you're so early, too.
And I'm very early. I'm only 5 months out, right? But maintaining I'm definitely not maintaining. To me, and the way I look at it, is I'm in remission. And I chose that I was in remission 7 days into Infusio, because this disease, or whatever you want to call it, was never going to own me, and it was never going to take over me. So remission is a good word. I just don't even think about it, because the more I give it thought, the more it will consume my body. And like, of course, there's days where I feel, and I'll go to my fiance and be like, oh, I'm not feeling it. She just like, don't even think, it's nothing. You know what I mean? And it is nothing. Sometimes most people get tired. A lot of people get sore, and it's they don't just freak out about it. So for me, question is like, I'll say remission, but I don't even try to think about it.
I have to confess, though, that I remember the first time I had the flu after having my cell therapy.
Yeah.
I freaked out. I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's back!" And it was just.
It's just the
flu. It's just the flu, you know.
Flu.
So
Like think about how many times you had the flu before you had got that you were diagnosed with Lyme, and you were never like.
I know.
This is the end.
Totally.
You're just like, this is just the flu.
Yeah. So it's a change of perspective for sure. What symptoms did you have, and which ones went away first?
Oh, wow. I think I had really bad body aches. The worst was my stomach. Mm-hmm. I stopped being able to digest a lot of foods.
I remember that.
Tons of foods. The palsy, I had bad palsy of my arms, my legs, and started my face and jaw. And then the epilepsy, I started getting seizures. Mm-hmm. Look, 98% of that stuff went away.
Good.
The first stuff that went away was my epilepsy. Seizures went away.
You mean the epilepsy?
Yeah, the epilepsy. The seizures, that went away. The palsy went away, like right off the bat. Mm-hmm. My stomach was a longer journey, and it still is a longer journey. I have to pick and choose what I eat and at what times I eat it.
Right.
But compared to like where I was with my stomach, which is
Mm-hmm.
it was the worst. I'm talking for 12 years of solid bad gut.
Yes.
To where I am now, it's like it's day and night.
Yeah. You know, and I still choose good, clean food.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I could eat anything I wanted right now, but why would I want to eat junk, right?
I mean, when you like, I think about that too. I'm like, yo, I just want to eat like this.
Like a pizza.
Like, pizza, ice cream, or something. But when you're so programmed and dialed in, of like, I'm literally eating to get healthy, like to get back to where I was.
Yeah.
Your body's so programmed that you're like, why am I gonna put anything kind of bad in my body when that just didn't do me well? This actually healed me.
Yeah, and when you start feeling better, for me at least, when I started feeling better, I wanted to take care of myself even more. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Because I learned to appreciate, hey.
I totally get it.
Yeah. Did having Lyme affect your brain?
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah. Having Lyme affected my brain in ways, when I look back at it now, it was like heavy. Like I just like it's a mental battle. Like when you're super sick, you just start thinking negative thoughts, and it took over my brain like in a depression and mental state. I never had really bad brain fog. I was always pretty, but so in tuned to the negative thoughts and the way my mind was going. That's where I think the effect was just the overall having this illness, and before I was diagnosed, having this illness, I didn't know what it was, and feeling this way or waking up feeling this way is like it's just from a mental health aspect. I really got into depression with it.
Yeah. Did you have anxiety as well?
A lot of people don't know this. This is probably the first. Like I have had anxiety. I started having panic attacks and anxiety attacks when I was 15. So super young. So I've had anxiety my whole life. I haven't had panic attacks since I was like 22. But I always had anxiety my whole entire life.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
But I know how to like deal with it.
Got it. Yeah. Good. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Did you stop modeling when you had Lyme?
No. Well, I mean, yes and no. The doctors think I had Lyme for like 11 years. So I stopped modeling about 4 or 5 years ago, but it wasn't because I had Lyme. It was just time to progress and move on to
change of career and
Exactly.
How did you find out? I think you already answered that one earlier, right? How did you find out you had Lyme?
Yeah. Look, I came to Los Angeles from Australia.
Yes.
And found a Lyme literate doctor that was able to diagnose me. It was tough in Australia to find that situation for me, but out in Los Angeles it helped.
Interesting, because you just said Australia, and the next question is, are you moving back to Australia?
I've been asked this so much.
Yeah.
Like I was supposed to come here and see how it was working for me, but this whole situation that's happened and everything I've gone through, like it really is day and night. I really am a different person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always gonna go back and forth to Australia, but for right now, I'm like, oh, I'm in Los Angeles.
Yeah, gotcha. And were you into mind and body before you had Lyme? Into the mind-body connection, I guess that's the question.
No. I'd love to say that I was. It's a good thought to think that I was always like about mind and body, but my fiance was really into mind and body, and I never understood it.
Mm-hmm.
I never understood meditation, never understood affirmations. It wasn't really my bag. I was more of like, no, I'm going to deal with the present, and this is what's happening, and stress happens to everyone, and that's the world we live in, so just deal with it type of attitude.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, when you hit rock bottom with health, it changes your aspect on life.
But and then it's also like you said, you know, with all that adrenaline, it just keeps you going. I mean, because you were touring too, right?
Yeah,
you were doing
I would do
like hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah, I did 2016, 17. I did almost 100 shows, and
average of how many people? In the
oh,
show
I mean, it was good. Like, it was up to like clubs of like 3,000 or 4,000, or a festival of 10,000 or something.
Yeah.
But it was not that. It's like, okay, you're not gonna sleep that night when you play, and then you're gonna get the early flight, so that whole day you're gonna be kind of off. So like my sleeping patterns were horrific. I would get 2 hours, 3 hours sleep, mixing that with like alcohol and drinking it all the time. It really, really drained me.
Yeah, understandably so.
Yeah.
And this one is like the other spectrum.
Yeah.
How do you relax?
Oh my God, that's a good question. It's actually a question everyone's been asking me lately, because I don't. I have to relax more. Recently, like the meditation gives me like this 20-minute in the morning, 20-minute at night situation that I'm completely with myself and like completely in that relaxed state. But otherwise, music, but is that relaxed? Because I'm so involved.
Well, if it is for you.
Look,
you
I
know.
love it. Music to me is the most therapeutic thing I do, but
Yeah.
it's very involved.
Yeah.
Like, I'm super laser focused. I think watching like HGTV with like my fiance probably is like how I relax.
Yeah, I love
HGTV.
HGTV.
Like, I never watched it,
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah,
super locked into it.
Yeah, I
lately.
know. It's like my favorite one too. My husband and I do that all the time
Love
as
it.
well. Yeah. Is it true that you are working for Lyme Australia?
I'm not. Look, I'm an ambassador of the Lyme Disease Awareness Australia, and it's something that's insanely passionate for me. Just because Lyme awareness in Australia is very minimal.
Yes. Yes.
Basically, for some people that don't know, Lyme disease was when it was first came on the scene, it was by the government kind of classified. It was due to a logistical situation. So Lyme disease was only found by a certain tick in North America. So Australia said Lyme disease does not exist in Australia because it's geographical, and that's where it's sat since. So there's Lyme disease in Australia, a lot of people being diagnosed with Lyme disease in Australia, but it's just not recognized. So it's very hard to get diagnosed in Australia by a doctor, and it's much harder to find treatment for Lyme disease in Australia.
Yeah.
So that's why just with the LDAA, like getting that awareness out, speaking about it, being able to do interviews of just saying Lyme disease and speaking about what it is, because a lot of people in Australia don't even know what this is, and a lot of people now that have been speaking about it are being like, I think I have it. And they don't know that they just never was aware of what Lyme disease was.
Yeah.
So it's these things, and speaking with you, that are just bringing out awareness. It's important to me.
Yeah, they never put two and two together,
That's it,
right?
yeah.
Wow.
I didn't.
Totally.
I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Yeah.
I didn't either. Because I remember I was told that there was no Lyme in California.
There you go. I mean,
how old are you?
me, I'm 33.
33. And you were sick in your 20s, right? Or like late 20s?
My whole
is it?
20s,
Oh, your
yeah.
whole 20s?
23,
Yeah.
22, 21, it's probably.
Yeah.
So now,
That's hard because that's when you like really party. You
But
know,
like,
for the
I
most
par-
part, when
but,
you're
like,
in your
see, the
20s.
thing is,
it's
like,
when
I
you-
partied super hard.
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, oh, maybe my stomach hurts
Maybe.
because I partied really hard. But it's like, I don't know. It was
Yeah.
all a
Yeah.
mixed bag.
Did you do antibiotics, and did they help?
I did antibiotics.
Mm-hmm.
I did probably 9 different antibiotics.
Oh, wow.
I was on a heavy dose at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Look, some antibiotics made me very, very sick.
Mm-hmm.
Either I herxed too badly,
Mm-hmm.
and like the toxins went in my blood, and that's what caused the epilepsy and these type of stuff. But then I had some positive aspects. If I remember, I took one that helped my stomach and I could digest. But the second I got off the antibiotics, it wouldn't work.
Mm.
So that's why I fell in love with the Infusio concept, because it's like, oh, I'm going to be doing something that's going to build my immune system and not depend on antibiotics. So my immune system gets so strong that it fights itself.
Yeah.
That it repairs itself.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm like, I'd much rather do that.
Yeah, which is what your immune system is
just
supposed to do.
To me, it was like the most logical situation.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
like,
foundational.
what, like we were talking about, when you get a cold or
Mm-hmm.
a flu,
Mm-hmm.
it's not like this is the end of my
Mm-hmm.
life. Our immune system it builds that.
That's
so
what it's doing.
if Infusio literally repairs your whole immune system, and then it's able to fight off the Lyme.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And let's see, this one is, met you at Infusio on a Monday. You came in to support us. Thank you. How do you stay positive when feeling sick?
Well, thanks for the question. Like, those Monday meetings are like very important to me,
Yeah.
because why I have such a connection with you is because I met you on that Monday.
Mm-hmm.
It was my first day, and to say I was not nervous is a lie. You're nervous, you're anxious, you don't really know what's going to go on, and there's this all mystery ahead of you. So for me to come on Mondays and meet the new patients and be like, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know where you're at right now, and I understand this is confusing or it's unknown, and it's really important, that connection, to lead them into the 2 weeks in a positive mindset. For me, when I feel bad, it's this thing that I've learned to do for a lot of situations, whether it's a fight, whether it's a moment I have of an email, a negative story. So it's this moment. Mm-hmm. I could choose to be upset, or take this moment that lasted a second, or a stomach ache that lasted an hour, and dwell on it the whole day, or see it and say it's this one little thing out of a positive 24 hours of the day, and just keep it moving. And that's what I choose to do, and most of the time it just passes. And if there's days I feel sick, it's like, okay, cool, I'm going to feel sick for this moment, and then that's not going to tell me and dictate my whole future. I'm just going to be sick for this moment. So I just look at it for what it is, start thinking positively, it's going to pass, and it will pass.
Yeah.
To not dwell on it. And it's very hard, because I have OCD, and I'm very pedantic, and like in my music or things like that, and your thoughts could go into that spiral of being pedantic, OCD, obsessive about that situation. And so the positive twist or change in my life is to look at things that you think are negative for a second, claim it for what it is, and just keep it moving.
Yeah, totally. And that reminds me of something that I heard once, and it was that everything changes.
Yeah.
Nothing stays the same forever. You know,
Exactly.
even the symptom or the sickness that we might be experiencing, it'll change. You know, I'm not saying that it'll change for the better in the next hour, but it will change.
Oh, it definitely changes.
You know, so everything changes. Nothing stays the same. So that helped me a lot too.
Yeah.
How long ago did you get your stem cells?
I think I got stem cells in April. So we're in October, May, June, July, August, so like 6 months ago?
6 months.
6 months ago.
Yeah, 6 months.
Crazy.
Wow.
And it feels like it was just a little bit ago.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's been 6 months. But for me to say it's only been 6 months and I feel the way I do right now, it's like,
Yeah.
it's that thing we just spoke about, right? it's always going to change.
Uh-huh.
Things are going to change. And
Yeah.
like when I look back right now and think about that guy I was and when I was sick in Infusio and how different my life is now and how many things changed since then,
Mm-hmm.
it's really, really something that's positive I think about.
Mm-hmm.
That no matter how bad something is, it could, in 1 second it can change
Mm-hmm.
to something amazing.
Absolutely. And we are going to take a few more of these questions, and then we're going to go to your questions, you
Great.
guys. So if you have any questions, just go ahead and send them in so that we can answer those. This one is, how has Lyme affected the way you make music?
Oh my God. I think it changed the way I make music completely.
Mm-hmm.
That was like one of the biggest changes in my life. Was so when I was sick, I got here. I didn't think I was gonna make music ever again. I had no passion to make music. I had no desire or determination to make music. I was just like,
Done.
this is it. My
You were
brain
done.
was so fogged. My motivation was so crippled. And I was like, I just didn't want to do it. And I remember when I was like, I think 3 weeks after, I was like, I'm going to go and like play around with like a drum beat or a snare and just check it or tweak something. I'm going to start tweaking like an old song I worked on. And then like I saw this positive oxytocin, you could say, or something in my body that like I was drawn to it. Like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. And ever since that point of music, to me, healed me in a way, because I got so stuck on it. And the music I'm making now is so much more meaningful, creative, and sounds to me better than it was when I was sick. It's incredible to me. So to me, the best thing about, from a creative aspect in anything, it's not when everything's going really good. Yeah. For me, it's when things are going really bad, and I can express myself through music and overcoming that obstacle through my creative output, which is music.
Yeah, and to me, I mean, I hear sort of like a little bit of like a restart kind of thing, right?
Yeah, that's exactly, like, I listen to beats or stuff that I did before I came to Infusio, and it's like I always look at it like, oh, it's like old beats. Yeah. Like, they're old. They're not like what it is, what it's about now.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you mentioned about starting like little by little, sort of, because
that's it.
I hear that a lot from patients too, that let's say, for example, people that used to work out a lot, you know, like every day, and then they get sick, and then the sickness takes over, and then you can't work out anymore, and then you get your cells, and then you start healing, and it's like, I want to work out, but I can't. But the thing is that we are thinking about the way that we used to work out, you know, the way that, so now let's look at a different way, right? Now let's start little by little. Let's start, because it's sort of like a different person. I know it sounds weird, but you're a totally different person. I got younger after stem cells. I kid you not.
Hey, my thing is, like, look, it's a switch that everything is like foundational. Right? And it's like, if I was running marathons or half marathons, and me when I was sitting in Infusio thinking about running a half marathon was never gonna happen. But me thinking about, hey, I'm gonna go for a walk around my block was feasible. Well, it wasn't. Going outside, if I could just walk outside, was feasible. And like, how is that? Because I remember when I called my dad, because I walked for like 3/4 of a mile without like being sick or faint. I remember, like, this is amazing. Like, smelling that. So it's like, it's not about, like, it's your mindset is seeing the end, right? Where you want to be. That's your reality. But like, just slow positive steps every day to get there. Like, it doesn't have to be this crazy all or nothing. And that's where people dwell. It's fine. When I was speaking with people, it's oh, I'll never do that again. Oh, like I used to run 4 marathons, and I'll never do that again. I can never do that because you're focusing on something that you used to do or used to have, which was like this ultimate end game, but you're not looking at the foundational steps where you are now to get there.
Yeah.
So it always people like, oh, that'll never happen again.
Baby steps.
Exactly.
You know. And I think you touched on this one a little bit. When are you coming back to Australia?
I think I'm going to come back to Australia in 2019. I'm going to do a bunch of Lyme awareness stuff there, and then I think I'm going to tour and release some new music.
Awesome. What part of the Infusio concept was the most beneficial to your health?
Oh my God! I only have to pick one part of the Infusio concept. I would have to say the empathy. I think Infusio, like the treatments that you get in Infusio, are incredible. The IVs are incredible. The stems are incredible. But the most important part was like I came to a place that understood where I was, understood me as a patient, and understood how my life changed that I was there, and knew how to change my mentality. The place was welcoming, it was warm, it didn't feel like a doctor's office, it felt like a retreat. And the way people spoke to me about Lyme disease wasn't like this. It was just like a holistic, positive approach to me getting better, and they really loved me, and they really wanted me to get better.
Aww.
So it was this empathy that I felt from every single person at
Awesome.
Infusio that to me encouraged me to get better.
Yeah.
And that's what got me better. It's like the treatments they do, it's the best, it's the highest grade you can have, but I can tell you right now, you could go get those treatments somewhere else, but the staff and the doctors aren't going to have the empathy that this place has.
Yeah, totally. And it's great too how like I think that the way that we have demedicalized the whole experience, and again that connects to the mind-body medicine thing, you know, like you don't feel like you're at a doctor's office or anything like that, and the doctor comes and talks to you like she's your friend instead of having a desk in front of you and you know 500.
When I was diagnosed, or I would just like sit in a doctor's office and they ask me about my symptoms and they're just scribbling on a paper about your symptoms, but like you don't know if they're listening to you, and then coming to Infusio, it was just day and night.
Definitely, yeah. So I think that we are kind of like running out of time, right? So I'm going to check to see if we have any more questions. We've answered so many questions, you know, from previous. So I'm going to see if we have any other questions to answer. And well, we have one question, and this is like a very personal question.
Okay.
And that is, when are you getting married?
Oh my God. Probably like I could say early 2019.
Okay.
I'm not gonna give it the exact date, just because if I give that date, whoever like watches this will run with it.
No, of course not. No, we don't expect you to.
Early 2019.
You know, it's like we don't. You know, of course we don't expect you to.
Solid question to wrap it up.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Great.
But well, thank you for being available and answering all of the questions that people sent. And again, so grateful that you made it and took the time. And how can we reach you? Because I know that you know you're very involved now with Lyme disease.
So you could find me always on Instagram, Didier Cohen Official. Like we'll always write back to my DMs. And then I started just recently a health blog called Just Another Health Blog.
Awesome.
And it's basically my take on health and my journey of health and all these different aspects that I have to look at the world now in a different eye, and just my perspective and view on the world of health.
Great. So just make sure you guys that you follow Didier and check out his Instagram and his new blog, and you can also follow us on Facebook at Infusio Beverly Hills, and on Instagram at Infusio Beverly Hills, and also you can follow me at onaturally on Instagram and Ivonne onaturally on Facebook. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time. And until then, be well. Take care. Bye-bye.